So, if you're taking algebra 2 or precalculus, then most likely you will be solving a cubic equation like this. And the usual way to do it is we first guess an answer, and then we use synthetic division or polynomial division so we can break it down. But today, I want to show you guys how we are going to solve this cubic equation by just factoring. So, have a look. Firstly, you may want to make one side equal 0, so let's subtract 56 from both sides, and we get x to the third power minus 2x minus 56, that will be 0. Now, we are in trouble because even though this is a trinomial because it has 3 terms, this is x to the third power, so I cannot do the usual tic-tac-toe method. And we don't have we cannot use quadratic formula for this. We could use the cubic formula, but don't do that. So, how do we do it though? Well, we still have to kind of guess an answer. If you look back to the original, just pick some easy numbers to work with first. And usually, if you're in algebra 2 or precalculus, the first answer is pretty easy to guess it correctly. They are not going to give you the first answer to be like, I don't know, -5/13 or something like that. Anyways, if you pick x equal 1, it's not going to work. It's 1 minus 2. It's not that. X equal to 2 is also too small. X equals 3, it's also not good. X equals 4, I think it's promising. If we have x equals 4, then we see 4 to the third power minus 2 times 4, that gives us 64, and then minus 8 does give us 56. So we know that 4 is an answer. Now, the usual way to proceed is that because we know x is equal to 4 is an answer, subtract 4 from both sides, we know x minus 4 is a factor. And then, again, you do polynomial or synthetic division so you can break down the cubic expression. But I know you guys are here for a different way, so this is how we do it. The idea is that we are going to break down this number 56. Right now, we only have 3 terms. It's not that enough for us to factor. I want to have 4 terms. Check this out. We have x to the third power. What I want to do is, when I have 4 to the third power is what? 64. I want to have a minus 64. So I'm going to really write down minus 64. Okay, so have a look. I'm going to use this to get negative 64, but that's only negative 56. So what more do I need? The answer is actually plus 8. Negative 64 plus 8 gives us negative 56. And the minus 2x stays. In fact, I know many of you guys have noticed, this right here is just the opposite of that. This right here is just the opposite of that. So you pretty much just negate this and negate that. So that's how you can use that number. So you still can see some hints by doing this right here. Now, we have 4 terms. And the beauty is that this thing right here is nicely equal to 4 to the third power. So let me rewrite that real quick. Because for the first 2 terms, we can factor it by difference of 2 cubes. X to the third power minus 4 to the third power. Yeah? And let me remind you guys the factoring formula for the difference of 2 cubes. Ready? If we have a to the third power minus b to the third power, this will give us a minus b times a squared plus ab, and then plus b squared. Anyways. Alright, here's the a, here's the b. Factor it, we get x minus 4, and then a squared, so x squared, plus this times that, which is 4x, and then at the end plus 4 squared, which is 16. Right, so you see the a minus b, and then a squared plus, this is a, this is b, so it's 4x, and then at the end it's plus 16. Now, for the last 2 terms, here we have a minus. Be careful, go ahead and write that down. 2 and 8, we can factor out a 2. And then, technically, right here, we are really factoring out negative 2. And then we will be getting, just take negative 2x divided by 2. we get x. Take 8 divided by -2, we get -4. Okay? So now we see this and that, they are in common. So we can factor it out. So we are looking at x minus 4, and then just put them together. X squared plus 4x plus 16, and then of course we still have that minus 2 afterward. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this right here, x minus 4, make it equal 0. So of course, x equals 4. That's our original guess. That's the answer. One of the answers. In fact, I think that's the only real answer. From here, x squared plus 4x, 16 minus 2 is plus 14, and that's equal to 0. Now we have a quadratic trinomial. Thankfully, we have a 1 in front of the x squared, and the coefficient of x is even. I will be doing completing a square. It's faster that way. I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides, so I get x squared plus 4x, leave a space, and we get -14. Here we have 4, so what we do is we take half of this coefficient and then square that. Half of 4 is 2, square that, we get 4. So this is the number that we will have to add to both sides. So again, we are trying to do the completing the square method. For more tutorial on this, I will have the links in the description for you as well. Now for this, factor it and we'll get a perfect square. X plus 2 squared. This right here gives us -10. And then take the square root, both sides, put the plus minus so that this and that cancel. X plus 2, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So x equals -2. And then we have the plus or minus. Here we have a negative instead of the square root. That turns out to be the I. We are getting the imaginary unit I. So go ahead and write that down. And then square root of 10, we cannot break it down. I like that. I like it when square root numbers, we cannot go any further because we don't have to do anything. Just go ahead and write it down. So we have 2 more solutions from here. Right? The first one right here is -2 plus I square root of 10. And the second one is -2 minus I square root of 10. Along with this, altogether we have 3 solutions for that equation. And before you guys go, here's a question for you guys to try. Why don't you try x to the third power minus x squared equals 48? And leave a comment down below and let me know what the answer is for this. And again, try to do this kind of method. Try to do it with just factoring.